done a wonderful job of separating everybody to the point where they don't need to do any research because they can look at the ballot and say, okay, all these are ours, I'll vote for them.
Oh.
Okay, that has nothing to do with people being lazy. It just has to do with people that just don't have a vested interest in doing anything other than listening to Sean Hannity or Rush Limbaugh or Alex Jones and saying, oh, well, I got to vote this way. And they do, without even looking at the candidates. They don't even look to see who they're voting for. Usually what they'll do is they'll look at the ballot in the primary and say, okay, here's the incumbents. Yeah, I'll just vote for them. Boom, same incumbents are back in for the general election. And then it gets to the general election, they say, okay, which one's got R's? I'll vote for those. Oh, which one's got D's? I'll vote for those. And that's the way it goes. That's it. It came up with, we were having this discussion with a good friend of ours named Kara, who ran as a Green Party candidate in LD 26. Okay. In LD 18, we had a Democratic Senate candidate named Sean Bowie and a Democratic House candidate named Mitzi Epstein. There was a Green Party candidate and a Republican candidate also. And the thing that should have happened is that everybody that voted for the Democratic candidate should have also voted for the Green Party candidate, which would have knocked out a Republican candidate. But nobody did that because they did what's called a single shot. It was effective, and then it helped get Mitzi Epstein elected, but it also still gave the Republicans a seat at the House when the voters could have voted for Mitzi and the Green Party candidate and knocked the Republican out. And then we would actually have a Green Party candidate in the House of Representatives in Arizona who most likely would have caucused with the Democrats. Bad idea, bad mistake. I understand why they did it, but the reasoning behind it, I think it could have been done differently.
I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, pretty much. So, we need candidates. Now, there are candidates out there that are popping up. This is one of those things, too, unfortunately. And we talked about this a little bit last week while we were up in Prescott. What happens when you get 2 or 3 candidates and then the parties themselves decide which one should be the right candidate?
Oh, that's never going to happen. Stop that.
Yeah, because it never does happen.
Party pride needs to die, okay?
Yeah, that's one of the things that, in this climate where we have a bunch of people that are screaming, we need candidates, and then candidates show up, and then they decide, oh, well, we don't like that candidate, we're going to run our own. And that's the party doing this. That's not a good thing. And whether or not, for example, I'm gonna go talk about the superintendent of public instruction at this point. Kathy Hoffman filed in March, like the beginning of March, like March 9th. She's been out there canvassing and doing candidate stuff and going to meetings and speaking to people and being at rallies and stuff like that. And there was pretty much no information disseminated from the Democratic Party that we had a Democratic candidate for the superintendent of public instruction. And then a month later, all of a sudden, hey, look, David Shapiro, he's running for superintendent of public instruction. And there was a big fanfare, and the party was posting, and this, that, and the other. And
He's got name recognition for any of you that don't know this.
No, I know David Shapiro. He's a good guy.
Yes,
He's got experience. He could actually probably do the superintendent of public instruction job just fine. But so can Kathy Hoffman. And Kathy Hoffman spent a month beforehand trying to get some sort of response from the party and got nothing until some people actually stood up and said, this is bullshit. If you want to actually be the Democratic Party, then you need to start playing favorites and start actually giving at least the impression to people that you actually care about all the Democratic candidates. They still have not given, what's the guy's name that's running for governor?
Oh, the independent?
No, the Democrat that's running for, is it Noah?
Noah, yeah. No. I was going to say Noah Wiley. Oh, no more TV for me.
No more TV for you. Not Noah Wiley.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember his name now. It's not coming to me right off the top of my head. Probably because I've had some vodka, maybe some Fireball. But anyway, he's been running as a Democrat for several months now. He's been filed, and the state party has not even given him a mention because, of course, they don't really like him. But that's not the point. The
Isn't
point
that
is,
what the point of the primary is?
the primary is there for people to actually choose the candidate as opposed to the party trying to choose the candidate.
Do you think we're jaded? I mean, seriously,
it could
because
be.
we were underdog candidates that got virtually no support from the party.
I
said
let's
virtually.
Not, no,
I said
the party. That's where you have to.
The party. Okay.
Which party? His name's Noah Dyer. Noah Dyer.
I was thinking Dryer. Okay.
And he's running for governor, and he still hasn't gotten any kind of shout out from the state party whatsoever.
At the very least, his name should be listed as a filed candidate.
Well, no, regardless, they should. If he's running as a Democrat, they should at least post his shit. Okay, they should post his shit.
Like him or not, you should
whether they like him or not, they
unbiased.
should. They have a candidate that's running for Congress in CD2 who's a registered Republican who's running as a Democrat.
If this doesn't piss you the fuck off, then
Okay,
ugh.
yeah, that's pretty bad anyway. But if he's registered to run as a Democrat, then the party should at least mention him. Because to not do so shows preferential treatment, regardless of whether the guy is actually a Republican or not. If he's a Republican, I think people are going to be smart enough to figure that out and know not to vote for the guy as a Democrat. But what we need to do is we need to put a strong Democratic candidate up against him, as opposed to complaining about him running as a Democrat. Okay, let's find a really good candidate to beat his ass. Because if they have a primary, at least we can get some free press out of it. And if he, realistically, he's going to lose Democratic primary in CD2 if we have a good candidate. If not, he's going right through, and he's a Republican. So, but
another entitled person to sit on the legislature. We need to do away with
not legislature.
That shit.
It's Congress in
Congress.
Washington.
That's even worse. We need to do away with this entitlement shit.
The problem is that we still There's a movie called The American President, and one of the most pointed things that's said in there is politics is perception. Okay, the Democratic Party or the Republican Party or the Green Party or whoever party, giving the impression that they are supporting one candidate over another before the primary is bad politics. And it leaves a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth.
It's against what the system's supposed to even be about.
Especially after the 2016 presidential primary.
Have we learned nothing?
No, we haven't.
Jesus.
We're doing the same mistakes over again. So that's something that needs to change. People need to stop doing that and letting people decide who the candidate is that they want, as opposed to letting the party lead it towards a specific candidate. So, back to Superintendent of Public Instruction. Whenever this came out, and all of a sudden David Shapiro was getting all these nice posts and everything.
All
from the
these
state party.
sponsored ads.
Well, no, the sponsored ads. That's
those
all
are
his
all
campaign.
him though, huh?
That's his campaign
Jeez.
stuff. That's not us.
Okay.
I actually wrote a letter as LD 16 chair to the state party about how I was upset that the fact that all of a sudden David Shapiro is getting all this press from the Democratic Party, whereas another candidate's been out there for a month, going from LD to LD, giving speeches and talking to people, has been completely ignored.
Twisting in the wind.
Yeah, that's.
I wonder where that term came from.
Probably from our campaigns in 2012 and 2014.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I did write a letter as LD 16 chair because I want to see the party actually giving equal time. The whole fairness doctrine that was destroyed by Reagan in the 80s. I think that the parties need to follow that so they give equal time. Because if you give equal time, okay, say the party gives David Garcia and Noah Dyer equal time. The people that actually pay attention to stuff like that, they're going to go to the polls for the primaries, are going to pay attention to what each candidate has to say. And they're going to figure out which candidate they want. Because this is a democratic republic, okay? It is not a Democratic Party republic. So the people are the ones that are supposed to be choosing the candidates, which one they want to represent them. So that's one of those things that any party needs to work on when they start pointing the finger towards one candidate instead of the other. Equal time. Okay, that's all we ask, is that you treat them equally until the primary. After the primary, whoever's going to win is going to win, whoever's going to lose is going to lose, and we go from there.
Well, the way I look at it is, how is it almost not insulting if you choose to align yourself with a party and you are too busy or just don't want to do the research and you're like, okay, this is the party's choice. How is that not in a form of like, oh my God, you voters are too fucking stupid to make up your own mind, so this is who we choose. So if you're a true party loyalist, you're going to go with our candidate. I hate to say it, but that's kind of what it kind of seems like. Kind of like they're like,
that's adding way too much to it.
You think so?
Honestly, yeah.
Well, that's the way my warped mind works.
No, I mean, it's real simple. There's a lot of people that didn't know who Kathy Hoffman was.
Oh, right.
Okay. And that had nothing to do with the party saying, oh, well, this is our candidate. This is who you need to vote for when Shapiro thing. It was a complete blank out of a candidate that they did not really want or did not know well enough to say, yes, we support this person. Okay. It's really a tough slope. And in listening to one of the conversations on the phone that I was on Tuesday night, one of the things that they were talking about was finding a way to make sure that we could give, ultimate support to one candidate over another before the primary. Because of, this was in, I think, LD3, where, what's that guy's name? Begay? Senator Begay, who lost, who switched from being a Democrat to a Republican so he could get like $100,000 in road work done on the reservation or something like that. His wife or something ran against somebody else as a Democrat in the primary. And so they were talking about how they need to be able to actually make sure we don't let that happen. Okay, well, that's a really slippery slope, folks. Okay, when you start talking about how to make sure that a candidate doesn't win over another because they may be a troll or whatever, okay, now you really are setting yourself up for bad press and bad perception, which turns into bad politics really quick. So we need to make sure that people are paying attention and not falling into that trap, because that's what it is. So it is, let me look here. Oh. Okay, well, in the chat room, some LD chairs are throwing up roadblocks by not allowing petition signature gathering by some candidates. Now, see, I would love to have that information so that we could actually specifically call out those legislative districts. I'm the LD chair in 16, okay? Any Democratic candidate that comes to the table is more than welcome to try to solicit signatures. I don't care who they are, because I believe in being fair. And if two candidates for the Senate, for example, was to come to the meeting and both of them were trying to get signatures, they should be having equal time to speak and having equal time to try to get signatures. So if we have legislative districts that are purposely throwing up roadblocks and purposely not allowing certain candidates to get signatures, as far as I'm concerned, that's bullshit. Because that is playing party politic, and it's not right.
And if you don't want to message Scott about it, message me, and I will gladly blast that shit all over the internet. And
we got a couple
10,000
Twitter followers, I think, from when we were running for office and stuff like that. And
not cool.
We are the type of people, especially me. I believe in people over party, because I think people are what makes party. Believe it. I know that's weird to think that, but yeah.
Well, you can't have a loyalty without people.
So that's right. So for those of you out there, if you're going to LD meetings and you have any indication that LD, and that stands for Legislative District, is purposely trying to block a candidate, then we would like to have that information, and we will put it on the air.
We just want to know. We just want to know why do they not?
Well, It's all about, well, for example, whenever I made a post that actually listed all the governor candidates, which would be David Garcia and Noah Dyer, and both Shapiro and Kathy Hoffman for superintendent for public instruction, and I think I mentioned Greg Stanton and Katie Hobbs for Secretary of State, and in the thread Democrats started saying, well, Noah Dyer is not really a candidate.
Ugh.
It's like, hey, he's filed with the Secretary of State's office. He's got the